Okay, welcome to the part 1 of our course unit 3, the cardinal principles in the criminal investigation. So, ano ba ang criminal investigation? So, let's start. So, the topics to be discussed for today is all about the cardinal principles in criminal investigation. Number 1 is the crime triangle. So, the tools in criminal investigation, information, interview, and interrogation. And the last one is instrumentation. And then, the cardinal principles in criminal investigation are 5 W's and 1 H. Now, let's start first with this. So, criminal investigation. When we say criminal investigation, as we have discussed last week, di ba, dinefine naman natin yan, criminal investigation is an art which deals with the identity and location of the offender and provides evidence of guilt through criminal proceedings. So, ginagawa natin ang criminal investigation, okay, in order for us to know, to locate, di ba, or to identify the identity who committed the crime. So, sabi nga niya, it provides evidence of guilt through criminal proceedings. Kasi meron tayong proper protocol or mga protocols na sinusundan natin in investigating a crime. So, investigation defined as the collection of facts to accomplish a threefold aim. Now, ano ba yung threefold aim ng isang investigation? Number 1 is to identify the guilty party. Okay? Parang ito yung mga key points bakit natin gagawin ang isang investigation. Number 1 is to identify the guilty party. Sino yung gumawa nun? Number 2, or letter B, to locate the guilty party. After mong nalaman kung sino ang gumawa niyan, kailangan mong matukoy nasan siya ngayon kasi hahanapin mo siya. And number 3, the last one, is to provide evidence of his guilt. So, dahil tinutukoy mo siya, tapos nahanap mo siya, tapos habang nasa justice na tayo or nasa court na tayo, kailangan mong patunayan or kailangan mong ipakita what are the evidences that makes him or that makes prove that he is guilty of that crime or he is the one who committed that crime. So, yun ang ating criminal investigation. So, these are the basic elements of investigative process. Ano sila? Recognition, collection, and preservation. Again, these are the basic elements of investigative process. Number 1, recognition. Ano ba ang recognition? Recognition, it is the information relating to crime must be recognized by the investigator. Paano yon? Siyempre, recognition, parang kailangan niya munang malaman na merong crime na nangyari. Siyempre, paano mag-i-investigate or paano mag-i-start ang investigation itong si investigator if wala naman siyang kaalam-alam na meron palang nangyaring crime. So, siyempre, parang report muna sa kanya. Next, we have this collection. After that, information that is relevant must be collected by the investigator for the processing and presentation in court. So, after niyang nalaman, okay, after niya pong nalaman na meron ng crime, mag-i-start na siyang mag-process ng crime scene, ganyan. So, magkakaroon tayo ng collection. So, ibig sabihin, ko-collect lahat ni investigator, lahat ng information na related doon sa crime na sinabi sa kanya. And the last one, or the last basic element of investigative process is what we call the preservation. What is preservation naman? It is the evidence collected must be preserved for future use. Okay po, syempre, sabi nga kanina, kung babalikan natin to, yung isang to provide evidence of his guilt, diba? Preservation. Therefore, yung evidence or yung mga na-collect mong information must be preserved. Bakit? Diba? Bakit mo siya ipe-preserve? It is because for this, or para mapatunayan natin, or para isubmit natin sa court, or na lahat ng facts na nalaman mo or lahat ng investigation na nalaman mo is tumutugma dun sa isang tao. Kasi any evidence na nasira ang mangyayari dyan, pwedeng maging mansya kung bakit hindi nako-convict ang isang kriminal. Okay po. Next. So, we have different types of investigation. We have formal investigation, inquest, inquisition, probe, research, and investigative reporting. So, let's start first with the formal investigation. Formal investigation was usually done by the police to discover facts concerning a civil or criminal case. Yan mismo po yung ginagawa ng mga police or tinatawag nating criminal investigation. Ang tawag doon ay formal investigation, wherein the police we're going to discover the facts concerning the civil or criminal case. Next, Inquest. Okay, what is inquest naman? So, inquest, it is used to describe a form of judicial inquiry. It is conducted by public prosecutor to determine if legal grounds exist in filing a criminal complaint against a person. Have you ever, tawag ito, kung natatandaan nyo, sa criminal justice system natin, di ba meron tayong inquest procedure na tinatawag? Sige nga, sino nakaka-remind or nakakatanda anong ibig sabihin ng inquest? Anong ibig sabihin ng inquest? Diba na-discuss yan sa ating criminal justice system? Kailan natin ginagawa ang inquest? Kailan? Yung inquest procedure? When at the time of warrantless arrest. Diba? Nagkakaroon tayo ng inquest. So, anong mangyayari doon, ma'am? It is conducted, sabi nga niya, by the public prosecutor to determine a legal grounds. Diba? Legal grounds of in filing a criminal complaint against a person. So, di ba, kapag kasi, kapag warrantless arrest, ibig sabihin, they are arresting without without warrant of arrest. Okay. Ang mangyayari nun, ibig sabihin, wala pang ebidensya or wala pang nagpapatunay or wala pang probable cause na nagsasabi na gumawa nga siya ng crime. Not unlike kapag merong warrant of arrest, siyempre, meron na yung probable cause to examine or to determine if that individual already committed a crime. So, ginagawa natin ng inquest in order for us para malaman if valid or legal ba ang pagka-arrest dun sa isang tao. Next, inquisition. What is inquisition naman? It simply refers to any penetrating investigation concerning a religious issue. Kapag naman, anything that is an investigation in religious issue, therefore, ang tawag doon ay inquisition. Next, probe. What is probe? Diba? Meron din tayo tinatawag na prober. Okay? Kayo ba? Do you want to be a prober? Ang prober, parang investigator din siya. Probe. What is probe? It is an extensive searching inquiry conducted by the government. However, okay, it is often associated with committees, usually in the form of legislative inquiries. Examples are investigation conducted by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. So, yung mga kinakonduct ng mga Senate hearings. Ayan. Kapag merong issue, 'di ba, na kalmari regarding tax, regarding dun sa mga napapanood natin sa balita, ang tawag doon ay probe. Nakuha po, probe. So, ibig sabihin parang, 'di ba, nung nililitis nila yung ABS-CBN. So, ang tawag na sila ginagawa doon ay probe. Next, we also have research. Ano naman ang research? It is also a type of investigation. What is research? It refers to careful, patient investigation done by scientists or scholars in their efforts to identify original sources of data or causes of the problem. Ayan yung mga normal research na ginagawa nyo sa school. 'Di ba? Or sometimes, kung mas formal, research na ginagawa ng mga professional na tao. Next, investigative reporting. Ano naman ang investigative reporting? A recent practice pursued by the members of the press on their own to initiative or it is designed to serve a dual purpose. Ano naman ang investigative reporting? Number 1, to attract readers or viewers. And number 2 is to get to the roots or a problem. Ano ginagawa ng investigative reporting? Sabi nga niya, it is a practice pursued by the members of the press on their own initiative. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga social media, press natin, ano ginagawa nila? It designed to dual purpose. Ano ba yung gusto nilang makuha? Para makapag-attract ng readers or viewers. And another is to get the roots of the problem para malaman natin yung mga nag-react doon or ano ba yung naging cause. Next. Eto, these are the cardinal points of investigations. The 5 W's and 1 H. Ibig sabihin ng cardinal points, ito yung mga key elements na ginagamit nila para magkaroon ng proper, or parang kailangan nilang masagot. Again, ito yung mga kailangan nilang masagot para maging successful ang isang investigation. So, these are the cardinal points of investigation. Number 1, what crime was committed? Siyempre, kapag nakita sila ng crime scene, hindi mo naman, kahit sinabi mo, may pinatay po doon sa isang eskinita. May pinatay, it is pwedeng murder yan, pwedeng homicide. 'Di ba? Basta pinatay. Madaming crimes against person. 'Di ba? Pero kailangan mong alamin what element, 'di ba? Na-discuss natin last week ano yung mga elements na 'yon sa crime na, or what are the acts that would constitute a crime. So, what crime was committed? Yun ang una mong gagawin. Next, who was the perpetrator? Sino yung gumawa? Una, alamin mo ano yung crime. Homicide ba? Murder ba? Ganyan. Pangalawa, who was the perpetrator? Sino? Sino ang gumawa? Number 3, when was the violation and the law made? Kailan meron bang batas? Ang tanong, 'di ba? Meron bang batas or kailan meron bang batas na or ano yung batas na nagsasaad na crime yung ginawa niya at kailan niya ginawa 'yon? For example, ang nakita mo naman kasing crime is sabihin natin may nag-report na kanwari si Clarice Ibay, isa palang mamamatay langgam. So, ni-report nila sa pulis, mamamatay langgam po si Clarice Ibay. Ang tanong, dati kasi ginawa yung crime. As the time ginawa yung crime, merong batas doon. Ngayong 2020, wala nang batas na mamamatay langgam. Ang tanong, pwede mo ba siyang kasuhan or pwede ka pa bang mag-start ng investigation? Hindi na. Kaya nga, importante malaman, 'di ba? When was the violation made at at ano yung basihan ng batas na yon. Next, where the crime happened. Saan? Saan naganap yung crime na yon? Saan yung pinaka-crime scene mo? 'Di ba? Or the corpus delicti. Then, why did the criminal commit the crime? As an investigator, importante na malaman mo yung motive niya. Dahil sa inggit, dahil sa galit, ganyan. Yung motive, why? Bakit ginawa yun ng isang perpetrator? And last one, ito talaga yung pinapatunayan mo, lalo na kung walang witness, how was it committed? Paano ito ginawa? So again, these are the key elements for your successful investigation. What? Anong klaseng crime? Who? Sino ang perpetrator mo? When? Kung kailan yung nangyari at kung applicable pa ba yung law? Where? Kung saan nangyari yung crime? And then, bakit yun ginawa? Why did the criminal commit the crime? And last one, paano yun ginawa ng isang criminal? Do you have any questions about cardinal points of investigation? Okay, I consider it none kasi walang sumasagot. Now, primary job of an investigator. Sino ba dito ang gusto maging investigator someday? Diba? The primary job of the investigator is to discover whether or not an offense has been committed under the law. Diba? If answering those 5 W's and 1 H, dito mo lalaman dyan kung talagang nagawa ba yung crime or hindi. Sabi niya, the primary job of the investigator is discover whether or not an offense has been committed under the law. After determining what specific offense has been committed, he must discover how it was committed, by whom, where it was committed, when, and why it was committed. So, yun talaga ang job mo as an investigator or yung mga dapat mong alamin as an investigator. So, criminal investigator is also known as prober. So, yung iba kasi na-encounter nila yung word na prober pero hindi nila alam ang meaning. So, again, kapag sinabi natin prober, it means you are a criminal investigator. So, he is the person in charge of carrying the goals of the investigation such as, again, diba? Identify the offender, locate and trace the offender, and gather evidence against the offender. Next. What are the qualities of a good investigator or a prober? If someday you wanted to be a good investigator or a good prober, so you must secure this type of qualities or dapat meron kang ganito. Number 1 is integrity. So, what is in integrity? The investigator will encounter overflowing temptations of women, money, and other intangible promises. Pag integrity, syempre, parang pina-priority mo is yung trabaho lang. Okay? Ibig sabihin, malinis ang iyong pangalan. That is integrity. Walang idadaan sa pera, walang idadaan sa anong tukso. Integrity. Ibig sabihin, tapat ka sa trabaho mo. Ganyan. Next, network. What is network? Information would be obtained easier and faster if the investigation has developed good contacts or source of information. Kailangan, kapag investigator ka, chismoso ka or chismosa. Bakit? Kasi, kailangan madami kang sources eh. Paano mo lalaman yan? Kaya nga, kasi kapag ang isang investigator is hindi siya nakikipag-coordinate sa iba or hindi siya ganun kaalam or hindi siya ayaw niyang makipagtulungan sa iba, therefore, lalong tatagal or magiging mabagal ang investigation niya. Kasi yung information na kailangan niya, kailangan siya muna lahat maghanap. Kapag gusto mo maging good investigator, kailangan talaga chismoso o chismosa ka. Diba? Sino yung mga chismoso at chismosa dyan? Diba? Pwedeng mga kapitbahay natin, no? Next, let's have the versatility. Diba? Pag may mga chismoso, baka investigator kayo, minsan advance kayo eh, sabihin nyo, diba? Okay, versatility. That is versatility. Pag sinabing versatile ka, flexible ka. Okay, versatility, a key to adapt and be on the top of different situations that would be encountered by investigator in his quest for truth and justice. Kapag kasi investigator ka, kailangan versatile ka. Kaya mong lahat gawin. 'Di ba? Lalo na kung ikaw yung type na investigator na gusto mo ikaw yung on hand or hands-on ka nag-aalam ng mga tawag dito, ng mga facts. Minsan, kung kanwari ang kausap mo is gantong tao, hindi mo alam kausapin, ganyan. Or tahimik na tao. Pag sinabing versatile, kaya mong mag-adapt sa paiba-iba yung situation. Kasi hindi naman sa lahat ng pagkakataon para-pareho yung crime na i-handle mo eh. At para-pareho yung tao na i-handle mo. So, pinakamagandang quality na dapat na meron ka, dapat versatile ka. Next, enthusiasm. What is the enthusiasm? So, no investigator would become successful in his objectives if he does not possess this quality. Ano yung enthusiasm or enthusiastic? Parang set goals, 'di ba? Ibig sabihin parang talagang persevere ka na talagang gustong-gusto mo yung ginagawa mo. Enthusiastic ka, madami kang ways, ganyan. Next, self-control. Lahat ng investigator kailangan may self-control. Why? It refers to the ability to control oneself regardless of provoking situation. For example, isang investigator ka, tapos ang case na hinahawak mo is yung case ng kapatid mo na pumatay. Pumatay dun sa kapatid mo. For example, nagkakaroon ka na nahuli mo na yung suspect, na-locate mo na yung suspect. If wala kang self-control, pwede mong hawakan ang batas. Paano magiging yun? Hawakan ang batas. Ibig sabihin, makikialam ka. Ikaw na ang magbibigay ng justice sa kapatid mo. Hindi mo hahayaan na gumalaw ang ating criminal justice. Kaya nga sabi niya, regardless of the situation or provoking situation, kailangan may self-control ka. Okay? Either way, hindi ka magiging good investigator. Baka nga yun pa yung maging minsya, bakit umalis ka sa pagiging investigator. Next, tactfulness. What is tactfulness? It is the ability to deal with other people effectively without offending them. Kapag tactfulness ka, parang sabi niya marunong ka maksilumuma sa lahat. Okay? Lalo na kapag sa mga criminals, kanyan, without offending him. So, kailangan maingat ka din sa pagtatanong mo. Diba? Or parang regardless of your relation to them, trabaho ay trabaho lang, pero kailangan kapag nakikipag-usap ka sa kanila, kapag inaalam mo yung mga facts and situations, ganyan, kailangan as much as possible, hindi mo sila ino-offend. Bakit? Kasi may tendency na hindi na yan magbibigay ng information sa'yo. Next, intelligence. Ayan. Kailangan matalino ka. Kaya nga yung mga investigator natin sa mga, di ba, meron tayong mga special units. For example, CIDG, ganyan. Meron mga tayong mga special units kasi kailangan, gamitin talaga ang utak natin dyan. Intelligence, diba? He must have the knowledge in psychology to decipher falsehood from truth. Another form of intelligence na meron ka, hindi lang sapat na matalino ka. Kailangan, meron kang parang psychology na tinatawag na, di ba nga, pinag-aaralan natin yung human behavior, pinag-aaralan natin yung polygraph, di ba? Also, doon kung malalaman nyo, causes of crime, di ba? Theories. Parang dito, sa intelligence, kasi hindi naman lahat ng ini-interview nyo or nakukuha nyong information or yung mga taong kinakausap nyo, facts lahat yung sinasabi nila or makatotohanan. So, kailangan gamitin mo yung utak mo, yung paniniwala mo din, tama ba yung sinasabi niya? Baka naman naniwala ka sa lahat ng sinabi nila. Ibig sabihin nun, hindi mo lahat ng information na binigay sa'yo is considered mong facts. Okay po? Raw information should be processed. Kapag na-process yung mga raw information na yan, ang tawag doon ay intelligence. Okay? Bakit mang pinaprocess pa yung mga information? Yes, para malaman natin if ano yung tama at hindi. Kasi kailangan saktong-sakto lang kapag investigation. Next, guts. Kailangan meron ka daw guts. You have the guts to be an investigator. A good investigator has an incompatible courage to face several tremendous obstacles along the way. Yes. Madami sa mga investigator natin, lalo na kung emotional, unstable, ang nangyayari is, kailangan kasi meron kang courage na tapusin mo lahat ng ginagawa mo yan. So, hindi po madali ang trabaho ng isang investigator, lalo na sa mga violent crimes, diba? Or yung malaking crimes, or hindi simple crime, yung mga specialized crimes. Next, acting ability. What is the acting ability? A good investigator should have the acting ability. It is the ability to go down to the level of the lower strata, minor, squatters, or even the level of elite, noble, or professional. Kapag acting ability, ayan. Ayan, kasi minsan kailangan mong mag-interrogate eh. Kailangan mong sumabak sa mga gato. Kapag acting ability, minsan ginagawa ka nilang spy. Kapag investigator ka. Minsan ginagawa ka nilang spy. Paano yun, ma'am? Minsan dadalan ka lang sa squatter. So, parang mag-a-act ka doon para lang makakuha ka ng information. In exchange of information, kailangan carry mong gawin yan, yung marunong kang makisama. Minsan, 'di ba, nagpapanggap sila as a isa ding mga kasama sa mga squatter. 'Di ba? Minsan nagpapanggap silang mga minor. 'Yun yung mga ginagawa nila. Yun yung mga ginagawa ng mga investigator in order for them to to acquire the information that they need. Naintindihan nyo ba? So, na-imagine nyo na ba kung magiging kayong investigator? Ha? Dapat marunong kayo sa acting skills. Diba? Kung nasa school lang tayo ngayon, siguro nagpa-activity na ako ng merong investigator na ganito, ganyan. Diba? Parang kailangan mong magpanggap. Yan. If naglalaro kayo ng Among Us, diba? Dapat yung isa sa inyo impostor. Ganon. Ganon ang investigator. Diba? Next, timeliness. Diba? Ito, being prompt in doing his assigned task will contribute much in giving justice to a grave party. Timeliness, ito. Kasi yung mga information natin, okay, kailangan talaga in time yan. At saka yung mga task nila, nasa in time din. Kasi kapag hindi, pwedeng ma-exploit yan or parang hindi na pwedeng gamitin. For example, pupunta si El Capo, pupunta daw siya dito ng 8 o'clock. Tapos ikaw dumating ka ng 9 o'clock. Hindi mo na datan si El Capo. 'Di ba? To extract some confessions or some information coming from him. So, importante na lagi on time ka. Bawal late dito. Next, optimistic. Ayan, kailangan you have the optimistic mind, parang positive mind. So, positive thinking, no matter how difficult the situation is, would attract positive spirit that would result to positive outcome. Next, research-oriented. This quality makes the investigator go beyond the usual beliefs and practice. This would help him discover new ways and techniques to solve a problem. Okay. Isa sa mga quality ng good investigator is research-oriented. Paano po yung research-oriented? Ibig sabihin, hindi ka nag-i-stick kung ano lang yung binigay sa'yo na ways. Kasi 'di ba may mga ways and proper procedures, basta wala kang nilalabag na batas ha. Ang sinasabi lang ng research-oriented, kailangan innovator ka. Parang kaya mong gumawa ng new strategy in order for you to, to extract or to get the information that you need. Yun ang research-oriented. Sabi nga niya, beyond or thinking outside the box. For example, we have these different techniques in interrogations, ganyan. If yun lang ang sinabi ba sa book na mga techniques, dun ka na lang mag-i-stop. What if kahit in-apply mo na lahat ng techniques na yon na interrogation, hindi mo pa rin nakuha yung information. So, dapat, you should think outside the box. Ano sa tingin niyo yung mas magiging convenient sa'yo para makuha mo yung yung information na kailangan mo. So, all of that na discuss ko ngayon is kasama ng or qualities of a good investigator. So, do you have any questions? May question kayo dito? Or do you possess this type of qualities ng ganito? So if you wanted, 'di ba, to be a good to be investigator someday, mag-isip-isip na kayo, kailangan meron kayong gantong qualities. Lalo na kung mag-apply kayo, talagang tinitingnan nila 'yan. Okay po? Next. Ito, characteristics naman of an effective investigator. Ito, psychological characteristics. Ito, paano ba sinabi nating psychological? It means this is your behavior. Okay? So, an emotional impact. Pag sinabi nating psychological characteristics, effective investigators are emotionally well-balanced. Bawal kasi dito yung easily driven, diba? By his emotions. Detached, inquisitive, suspecting, discerning, self-discipline, and preserving. Isa din sa mga another psychological characteristics is yung suspecting. Hindi ka agad-agad nagtatrust. Kahit pa sa kasama mo na nagbigay ng information, kahit sabihin mo ng trusted yon, minsan, titignan mo pa rin yung mga information na kukuha mo sa kanya if reliable ba or hindi. Next. Physical characteristics. Effective investigators are physically fit. Okay? Physically fit. Bakit? Kasi nga, di ba, minsan mapapa-action ka. Magiging kang action star dito kapag investigator ka. And have a good vision and hearing. Kasi nga, chismoso ka, tsaka chismosa. So, isa sa mga physical characteristics mo is malinaw ang mata mo. Syempre, ayan, minsan debugging, di ba? Parang nakikinig ka sa usapan ng iba. So, ito, mga physical characteristics, yung mga chismosa, no? Good vision and hearing. Minsan nga, parang silang merong sixth sense, eh. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng sixth sense? Na-predict nila yung future kahit hindi pa nila nakita. So, next, okay? Let's have this one. Another, okay? Ito naman ang functions of the investigator. Yung kanina, characteristics of an effective investigator, psychological and physical. Ito naman, functions. So, these are the functions of the investigator. Number 1, provide emergency assistance. So, number 1, if an injured person is on the scene, arrange for medical attention, identification, and removal. So, kapag kanwari, hindi naman kasi lahat ng crime scene, lahat ng pinupuntahan nila is patay na. So, if pumunta ka sa isang crime scene tapos merong isang injured na kailangan gamutin or dalhin sa hospital, so dapat kailangan marunong ka ng mga first aid nila. Next, another function of the investigator is to secure the crime scene. Bakit po? It is to ensure its protection by using other policemen or other responsible persons to keep witnesses, suspects, and victims who are present from disturbing the scene. Kapag kapunta mo sa crime scene, ang unang-unang gagawin talaga niyan, okay? If wala mang, number 1 rule ganito. If wala mang injured victim or buhay pa na victim, therefore, they need to secure the crime scene. Parang, di ba linalagyan nila ng barricades? Bakit? Ba't nilalagyan ng mga barricades or yung mga na police crime do not cross? Kasi baka may mga evidences doon na baka masira if maraming taong makakasalamuha. So kaya nila sinesecure yan kasi the evidences that should be gathered or makakapag-locate or makakapag-link sa suspect, baka masira yan if lahat pwedeng makapag-access sa crime scene. Pero, okay, ano po bang unang dapat mauna, ma'am? Emergency assistance or secure the crime scene. Okay, it depends on the situation. If the situation, okay, it involves meron pang buhay na tao or injured person, therefore, unahin mo na i-secure yung injured person na yun. Bakit? Kasi siya yung pwedeng pinaka matibay na source or evidence mo dun sa crime na nangyari. Kasi since siya yung injured. 'Di ba? Next, if patay na or wala naman ng kailangan ng emergency assistance, ang unang-una mong gagawin as a first responder, okay, is to secure the crime scene. Naintindihan po ba? Next, another function of investigator. Ito, you should photograph, videotape, and sketch. So, supply the maximum information and to understand how the crime was committed, to visualize objects and scenes pertinent to the case. So, photograph, sabi nga natin, it is the best way to preserve the crime scene. Kasi, kukuhanan mo na agad yan. Videotape, pwede rin po, pwede mo nang i-video, and also sketch. So, don't worry, lahat yan, madidiscuss yan bukas, yung mga kung paano tayo magre-respond sa isang crime scene. Next is take notes or taking down notes. Notes become permanent records in the case and have the inherent integrity of records prepared in the performance of official duty. Siyempre, as an investigator, lagi yan may dalang tickled notebook. Lagi yan sa pocket nila. Bakit? Kasi pwedeng lahat ng kinakausap nila, nire-record nila yan. Ma'am, kailangan bang mag-take down notes lagi? Yes, kasi sa buong araw, hindi mo naman po matatandaan lahat ng sinabi sa'yo. 'Di ba? In order for you to have a good record of what you have learned or what anong man ang information na napunta sa'yo, is mag-take down notes ka. Next. Okay? Functions, another function of investigator is search for, obtain, and process and physical evidence. So, ginagawa pa ng investigator, they collect physical evidence with adequate sampling considering the quantity available at the crime scene and the amount needed for the laboratory test. Ito, in collecting physical evidence sa mga crime scene. Okay? Kailangan meron ka lang adequate, ibig sabihin tamang dami or tamang quantity or tamang quality ng isang physical evidence. Bakit, ma'am? Hindi ba lahat dadalhin yon? For example, ang physical evidence na meron doon is yung buong pinto. Yung buong pinto. Tapos yung buong pinto kasi na yon ay sinususpect siya na binuhusan ng gas. So yung buong pinto ba na yon isa-subject mo for laboratory examination? Hindi, 'di ba? Ang gagawin mo lang diyan is kukuha ka lang ng part ng pinto na 'yan. Tapos 'yun ang i-examine mo. At saka sa korte, kapag pinasent 'yon, picture na lang, 'di ba? Tapos yung sample specimen mo na lumabas dun sa laboratory. Next, taking of sworn statements of suspect. Ito, another function of investigator, taking sworn statements of suspect, the execution of suspect's waiver, as stipulated in Article 125 of the RPC, shall always be done in the presence of his chosen counsel or any independent counsel. Dito, parang sinumpa ang salaysay ng isang suspect na kapag nag-interview ka sa kanya or nag-interrogate, ang gagawin lang niya or sasabihin lang niya is nothing but the truth but the whole truth. Next, another. So, itong sworn statements of the witnesses sworn statement or affidavit of complaints and witnesses must taken immediately by the investigator. If you could follow, okay, itong function ng investigator na to, or yung sinasabi kong tong affidavit, ganyan-ganyan, diniscuss ko na to sa inyong criminal justice system. 'Di ba? Yung sa may kapag nagkaroon na ng yung may mga 15 days, 10 days, ganyan. Diba? Yun. Ito yun. Yung sa mga sworn statements ng mga witnesses. Next. Functions of the investigator. Ito. As an investigator, hindi ka naman mag-i-stop lang kung ano yung nalaman mong information. Ito. Preparation for reports and filing of charges. So, number 1, spot report within 24 hours to the higher headquarters. For example, pag sinabing spot report, ito yung nangyari lang within that day. Progress report, parang ito yung follow-up report mo dun sa nangyaring insidente. And then, after operation report, ito yung mga day by day na, kanwari, nagkaroon ka ng follow-up investigation, ano yung nangyari dun sa another mong investigation. Next, you have this one, final report of the case filed before the prosecutor's office or court. Ito na yung pinaka-last na investigation report na meron ka. And the last one is the accomplishment report, kung paano mo yan natapos. Next, ayun na, functions of the investigator, follow-up case. It is the conduct of police operation to identify and apprehend suspect based on the results of the initial investigations conducted. Okay? After ng follow-up case na yan, if meron ka ng accomplishment report or final report, you need to testify in court. As an investigator, you always, testify in court po. Kaya yung mga police nagte-testify din sila. So, sayang nga, wala tayo sa school eh. Sana ma-exercise natin yung korte. 'Di ba? Magkakaroon tayo ng isang, ang mangyari dyan, gagamitin natin yung crime scene room, tapos, papatunayan natin, or parang magbubunatan tayo. So, sayang, wala tayo sa school. Next, training. What is training ba? So, training is one of the foundations of investigations. It's consideredly a vital ingredient in the creation of the total investigator. So, experience alone does not make one good investigator. Kahit sabihin na natin na experience is the best teacher, okay? Kailangan pa rin natin ng proper training. Sabi niya, many who had been hostage to this notion often ended in jeopardy. So, the ideal conjugal partnership is training and experience. So, in order for you to have a good foundation of investigation, kailangan experience and then training. Training and then experience. So, the fusion of the best training and vast experience is a formidable force that can threat even the most sophisticated technology and syndicated crime. So, if you have enough training and you have enough experience for that crime, therefore, magiging successful po lahat ng investigation nyo. So, the necessity of training as a purveyor of change builds the investigator's confidence. Diba? Kapag marami kang alam at alam mong napag-aralan mo yan, therefore, mabibuild mo yung confidence mo sa sarili mo, kayang-kaya mong isolve yung crime na yan. So, it widens his visions for professional growth and strengthens his will to survive and prevail over crisis. So, the National Forensic Training Institute or the NFSTI, we are here in the Philippines, Public Safety College or the PPSC. Meron tayong NFSTI, okay? Which is under the PPSC of the Philippines. It is the institution that trains uniformed personnel of the Philippine National Police to become a certified investigator. So, hindi po kasi lahat ng mga nagpupulis agad-agad investigator na. So, if you want to be a part of investigating team or investigation team, kailangan mag-train ka muna dito ng NFSTI under ng PPSC. Okay po? Do you have questions? Next, ito. Definition of criminal investigation, kanina, as I said while ago, we need to identify the guilty party, to locate, and then to provide evidence his guilt. Ito. This is the anatomy of crime. Okay, meron tayong the triangular of crime. So, ang crime makocommit yan if there is an opportunity, motive, and instrument. Again, ang crime makocommit yan if present itong tatlo. Paano yan, ma'am? For example, motive. Si Abdul. Andiyan ka ba, Abdul? Abdul.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your
Yes,
desire? Diba? What is your desire? Anong gusto mong gawin? For example, sabihin natin si Abdul ay may crush kay Ligon. Sabihin natin si Abdul may crush kay Ligon. Kaso si Ligon, okay, boyfriend na niya si Bricks. Okay? Si Ligon, boyfriend na niya si Bricks. So, ang motive niya, ang greatest desire ni Abdul is makuha niya si Ligon. Motive niya yan. Okay? Ngayon, paano niya makukuha yung crime na yun? Gusto niyang kidnapin si Ligon eh. Gusto niyang kidnapin si Ligon. So, ang motive niya, kuhanin si Ligon. Okay, so yun na. Dapat, meron siyang tinatawag na opportunity. Paano yung opportunity? Makukuha niya si Ligon if hindi niya kasama si Bricks, if si Ligon ay nag-iisa. That is opportunity. And then, paano niya makukuha yon? Anong gagamitin niya or anong gagawin niya? That is instrument. Kung kanwari, ang ginamit ni Abdul para makuha si Ligon is nilagyan niya ng pepper spray or nilagyan niya ng pabango, tinakpan niya yung bibig niya, ganyan, or kanyang ilong. Therefore, doon niya nakuha si Ligon. Nakuha niyo? Okay, again. Hindi natin magagawa ang crime if yung isa dito is nawawala. For example, meron siyang motive. Gusto niyang kuhanin si Ligon. Meron na rin siyang instrument. It's either pupukpukin niya, bibigyan niya ng pepper spray, or tatakpan niya yung ilong niya. Kaso, biglang na doon si Bricks. Si Bricks maskulado. Maskulado ka ba, Bricks? Si Bricks maskulado, ganyan. Tanong, magkakaroon ba ng opportunity na gawin kuhanin ni Abdul si Ligon? Hindi. Therefore, hindi niya makukumit ang crime. Again, this is the triangular crime, diba? Or the triangle of the crime. These are the three elements in order for you to commit a crime. If yung isa dyan, nawawala, hindi mo makukomit ang crime. Another. Meron siyang motive. Gusto niyang kuhanin si Ligon. Meron din siyang opportunity kasi mag-isa lang si Ligon. Ang problema ni Abdul, hindi niya alam paano kukuhanin si Ligon. Wala siyang bat para paluin si Ligon. Wala siyang pabango para lagyan yung ilong ni Ligon. Wala siyang pepper spray. Nakuha niyo po. For example, meron namang opportunity instrument. Meron siyang opportunity kasi mag-isa lang si Ligon. Instrument, marami siyang gamit pampatay kay Ligon. Ang tanong, wala naman siyang motive. Hindi naman niya gustong saktan or hindi niya gustong galawin si Ligon. Therefore, meron bang crime na magagawa? Wala. 'Di ba? So, again, this is the anatomy of crime. Dapat present ang tatlo. Motive, this is your desire. Kung bakit ginawa yun ng isang crime. Or bakit po gustong gawin yon. Opportunity, if meron ka ng chance para gawin yung crime. And instrument, ano yung gagamitin mong paraan, 'di ba? Para magawa mo yung crime na yon. So, that is the anatomy of crime. Ayan, oh. The motive, this refers to the person or cause why a person or group or person will perpetrate a crime. The instrumentality, it is the means or implement used in the commission of the crime. Ito yung gagamitin mo, 'di ba? Para makommit mo yung crime. And the opportunity, it consists of the acts or omission or commission by a person, the victim, which enables another person or group of the criminals to perpetrate a crime. The opportunity, this is your chance. Next, we have two types of criminal investigation. Yung kanina, types of investigation. Ito naman, specific na tayo. We have two types of criminal investigation. Again, yung naunang slide, yung pinakauna, yung diniscuss ko, types of investigation in general. And if we could classify criminal investigation, ang tawag doon ay formal investigation. So, under naman sa criminal investigation, meron siyang two types. Number 1 is investigation while the suspect is under arrest and detention. And number 2, investigation while the suspect is at large, meaning not under arrest or detention as distinguished from fugitive from justice. Okay, ganito. Pag sinabi nating investigation while the suspect is under arrest and detention, nagkakandak ka ng investigation habang yung suspect mo is nasa custody na ng mga polis. Nahuli mo na. Okay? Or yung iniisip yung suspect. Yung isang type naman ng investigation, ibig sabihin, crime scene lang ang nakita mo, hindi nyo patukoy kung sino yung perpetrator. Nag-guess nyo na po ba yan? Pareho nyo namang hindi tukoy ang perpetrator. Ang problema dito sa investigation while suspect at large, ibig sabihin, parang naghahanap pa kayo ng clue sino yung pwedeng maging suspect nyo at wala pa sa kamay nyo yon. So, ma'am, bakit sabi niya, meaning not under arrest and detention as distinguished from fugitive from justice? Pag sinabi naman kasi natin na fugitive from justice, therefore, ito, ang fugitive, ibig sabihin, criminal na talaga. Masasabi mong criminal ang isang tao kapag sinabi na ng korte na he is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Hindi mo masabing fugitive ang isang tao kung suspect pa lang po siya. Okay? Again, iba po ang fugitive from justice, ha? Kapag sinabing fugitive from justice, therefore, criminal na talaga siya. Meron ng final conviction, pero at large lang siya. Okay? At large lang siya. Pag investigation, while sa suspect at large, it means naman, suspect pa lang. Okay? Wala pa namang conviction na nagsasabi na criminal siya. Parang tinutukoy mo pa lang kung sino yung suspect na yon or yung criminal na yon. Okay na po ba tayo sa two types of criminal investigation? Under arrest or at large. Next. Ito. What is the difference between police operation and police investigation? Okay? Itong tinutukoy natin na criminal investigation, yun po ang tinatawag nating police investigation. Now, how it differs dun sa tinatawag nating police operation? Pag sinabi kasi nating police operation, okay, ganito. It is a lawful clandestine intelligence. When you encounter the word clandestine, it means secret. Okay po, secret operation. Again, police operation is a lawful, ibig sabihin, nasa batas naman or nasa legal na process, lawful clandestine intelligence, and detective networking to gather information and evidences to determine with certainty the commission of crime, the identity of the perpetrators thereof, and as may be necessary to arrest the culprits under those instances as authorized by law. Yung police operation, yun yung mga raids. Okay? Yan yung mga raids, police operation yan. How about police investigation? It is the action initiating a meticulous inquiry to formal complaint filed by the private aggrieved party or public complainant after the fact of the incident, but no arrest can be legally affected against the suspect as the circumstances attendant thereto are not those specifically allowed by law. It is called investigation. Nakita nyo na ba yung pinagkaiba? Sa investigation, parang pinapatunayan mo pa lang, di ba? Kailangan mo palang i-prove dahil nag-i-inquire ka pa lang based on those incident. Hinahanap mo pa lang. Ang police operation, eto, meron ka ng information agad. And kailangan mo na lang silang hulihin. Kaya nga sabi ko, pag police operation, example niya is raid. Kapag naman police investigation, ito na yung tinatawag nating criminal investigation. Do you have any questions? Kaya pa ba? Ang tahimik nyo? So, I hope kaya nyo.
Kaya pa, ma'am.
Ano? Kaya pa?
ma'am.
Nakakasunod pa kayo?
Yes, ma'am.
Opo.
Okay, konti pa. Ito, kasi mahalaga to eh. Kasi kung pupunta na tayo agad dun sa isang PowerPoint na ginawa nila, hindi nyo maintindihan. So, kailangan muna natin i-discuss to. Okay, we have phases of criminal investigation. Preliminary, follow-up, and final investigation. Katulad ng parang sa mga report. Okay. So, preliminary investigation, sabi niya. Identify the criminal through confession, eyewitness, testimony, circumstantial evidence, and associate evidence. Ang preliminary investigation, ito yung on the spot na pumunta ka sa crime scene. So, lahat ng ginawa mo doon, yung first time na pumunta ka doon, ang tawag doon ay preliminary investigation. Ma'am, ano naman po yung follow-up investigation? Kasi 'di ba, sa pagkapunta mo sa isang investigation crime scene, hindi naman agad-agad masosolve mo na yung crime. You need to follow up. Kailangan mong bumalik doon or yung mga na-collect mong evidence is kailangan mong mag-dig lower. Parang hukayin mo pa, alamin mo pa. Ang tawag doon ay follow-up investigation. Based from the preliminary investigation that you conducted. How about final investigation? Ito na yung prove by evidence the guilt of the suspect. Ito, lahat ng facts mo, lahat ng information na meron ka, lahat ng evidences mo, ibig sabihin parang napagtugma-tugma mo na, napag-link mo na. Therefore, that is your final investigation. Doon mo na napatunayan na, okay, ito yung crime na nangyari, ginawa niya. Sa final investigation, na-answer mo na lahat ng 5 Ws and 1 H. Okay po? Sa final investigation, na-answer mo na lahat ng 5 Ws and 1 H. O yung cardinal points in the investigation. So, in proving the guilt of the accused in court, the fact of the existence of the crime must be established. The defendant must be identified and associated with crime scene. So, competent and credible witnesses must be available. So, kailangan may mga witnesses ka tsaka evidence. So, the physical evidence must be appropriately identified. The proof of guilt will depend on the establishment of the essential elements of the crime, and the investigator must know by heart the elements of a specific crime. So, in order for us to have a successful investigation, kasi after mong mag-conduct na investigation, if napatunayan mo na lahat yan, papatunayan mo pa lang yan kapag nasa court na. Diba? In order for you to establish talaga na lahat ng facts mo, lahat ng nag-gather mo sa investigation is totoong na-approve mo or napatunayan mo na siya ang kriminal, therefore, kailangan the investigator must know by heart the elements of a specific crime. Parang alam mo lahat ng pasikot-sikot. Kaya nga, di ba, isa sa mga function ng isang police investigator is nagte-testify sila sa court. Okay po. Next. So, phases of investigation. Ito naman, we have 1, identify the suspect through confession, eyewitness testimony, circumstantial evidence, and associate evidence. Ang phase 1, ito na yon, yung preliminary investigation. Okay? So, ang ginagawa mo dyan is identify the suspect through confession. Ibig sabihin, parang merong nag-confess or parang merong nagtapat. Eyewitness testimony, kung sino yung nakakita ng crime. Circumstantial evidence or associate evidence based dun sa evidences na nakita mo doon sa crime scene. Phase 2, locate and apprehend the suspect. Ito yung follow-up investigation mo. Surveillance. O for example, dun sa phase 1 mo or dun sa initial investigation mo, nakalink mo na or na-locate mo na yung investigator. Ngayon, ang gagawin mo sa phase 2, you need to apprehend that suspect, yung nakuha mo dun sa investigation mo. So, paano mo ma-apprehend yan? By surveillance, undercover assignments. Kaya nga, di ba, sabi niya, meron kang acting ability. Minsan kasi nagiging kang undercover and informants. Or yung mga informers natin, sinong nagsasabi sa'yo, nasaan ba yung criminal na yan or nasaan ba yung suspect na yan. And last one, the phase 3, it means you gather and provide evidence to establish the guilt of the accused. So the fact of the existence of the crime must be established. So the accused must be identified and associated with the crime scene. Competent and credible witness must be available and physical evidence must be appropriately identified. Dun sa phase 3, ito na rin yung tinatawag nating final investigation. Bakit? Kasi kailangan lahat ng nag-gather mong evidence, witnesses, ganyan, testimonies, kailangan yan, maglilink lahat yan dun sa isang suspect mo. Diba? Naliliwanagan na naman ba kayo sa phases of investigation? So, nakalink yan dito, preliminary, follow-up, and final. So, ni-explain ko lang siya or ni-elaborate ko lang siya lalo. Next, tools. These are the tools of an investigator in gathering facts or tinatawag nating 3 I's. These are the 3 I's, as in eye hindi po eye na mata ha. 3 I's, okay? Letter I. 3 I's of an investigator in gathering facts. We have this information, interrogation and interview, and instrumentation. Information, it means this is the data gathered by an investigator from other persons including the victim himself, if buhay pa, diba? From the public records, private records, and modus operandi file. So, yan yung mga raw information na na-collect mo. Also, you also pwede rin mag-gather mo yung facts by the use of interrogation and interview. So, questioning of witnesses, suspects, and offended parties. So, ito namang, yung mga tools na to, i-discuss natin to later on sa mga next succeeding modules. Okay po? So, interrogation and interview, meron kang mga techniques kung paano mo ma-extract yung mga, or ma-acquire yung mga information sa mga taong to. And then, instrumentation, this is the scientific examination of real evidence, application of instrument and methods of physical sciences in detecting crime. Instrumentation, ito na yung gagamitin mo yung criminalistics o yung forensic science. Diba? Pag sinabi natin criminalistics or forensic science, ito yung applied sciences. Therefore, yung mga physical evidences mo, yung mga evidences mong na-gathered is kailangan dumaan or mag-undergo ng gantong process. Bakit? In order for us to prove those type of evidences. So again, these are the tools of investigator in gathering facts, informations. These are the raw datas. Okay, raw datas. Interrogation, interview, it means you're extracting information from the person itself, from the suspect, ganyan, from the witness. Instrumentation, these are the proving elements mo or the applied sciences, especially the criminalistics, yung mga forensic sciences natin, in order for us to validate a specific evidence. O, tingnan nyo, information, isa-isay natin. Tools of an investigator, information, data gathered by investigator from other persons including victim himself, the public records, private records, and the modus operandi file. Interview, the simply, okay, ano pinagkaiba ng magkasama to, interview and, magkaiba to ha. 2.1 dapat to, tapos 2.2. Sorry, magkabaligtad lang ha. Interview and interrogation. Pag interview, this is just simply and friendly questioning. Okay? Kapag interrogation, ito na yung may techniques. Kapag interview, for example, tinatanong lang kita, what is your name? Where do you live? Okay, anong oras ka ng gantong, nang nangyari yung ganto? That is simple interview. How about interrogation? Kapag interrogation, gagamit ka ng skill or parang technique. Kasi may mga suspect tayo or mga witnesses na ayaw magsalita agad. So, paano yun, man? Gagawin mo, for example, meron tayong Matt and Jeff techniques. For example, yung isa, mag-a-act as parang kakampi niya yung isang tao. Yung isa, mag-a-act na parang kaawa niya yung isang tao. O yung tinakausap nila. Maraming techniques in order for us to extract confessions or extract any testimonies coming from the witness or suspect. Lalo na kapag complicated yung isang tao, hindi siya agad-agad nagsasalita. Ayaw niyang sabihin ng lahat. We need to use the interrogation. And last one, instrumentation. Okay? It is the scientific examination of real evidence, application of instrument and methods of the physical sciences in detecting crime, or what we call the forensic sciences, criminalistics, or the applied sciences, which is yung pinag-aaralan nyo din, di ba? Yung meron kayong photography, meron kayong fingerprints, ganyan. You also have the polygraph, you also have the document examination. So, lahat naman yan mapag-aral. Legal medicine, ganon. Eto, wag na to. Yung kanina lang yon. Sige, sabihin ko na nga. Investigator's notebook, yung parang kanina, bakit lagi siyang magta-take down note? Purpose, for future recall. Kasi nga, hindi naman lahat natatandaan nyo. Many of the details associated with the investigation, while not essential to report, might become points of interest to the court when brought to trial. Minsan, alam nyo, yung mga parang akala nyo walang kwentang details na na-collect mo, is siya pala yung mag-link talaga sa suspect. So, to record the relevant details of the case, and also, the court allows the investigator to consult their notes. So, pag minsan, kapag nasa loob na kayo ng kulungan tuloy, nasa loob na kayo ng court, ang nangyayari, ay hinahayaan naman ng korte na tingnan yung mga notes nyo yan kapag nagte-testify kayo. Pero mas maganda, syempre, memorize nyo na. So, do you have any questions about our topic today? So, that ends our topic.